I do not know if the Pimp's album may not have been another link in the daisy chain, but soon after, for my own safety, I decided to marry. It occurred to me that regular hours, home-cooked meals, all the conventions of marriage, the prophylactic routine of its bedroom activities, and, who knows, the eventual flowering of certain moral values, of certain spiritual substitutes, might help me, if not to purge myself of my degrading and dangerous desires, at least to keep them under pacific control. A little money that had come my way after my father's death, nothing very grand, the Mirana had been sold long before, in addition to my striking, if somewhat brutal, good looks, allowed me to enter upon my quest with equanimity. After considerable deliberation, my choice fell on the daughter of a Polish doctor. The good man happened to be treating me for spells of dizziness and tachycardia. We played chess, his daughter watched me from behind her easel, and inserted eyes or knuckles borrowed from me into the cubistic trash that accomplished misses then painted instead of lilacs and lambs. Let me repeat with quiet force. I was, and still am, despite mes malheurs, an exceptionally handsome male, slow-moving, tall, with soft dark hair and a gloomy but all the more seductive cast of demeanour. Exceptional virility often reflects in the subject's displayable features a sullen and congested something that pertains to what he has to conceal. And this was my case. Well did I know, alas, that I could obtain at the snap of my fingers any adult female I chose. In fact, it had become quite a habit with me of not being too attentive to women, lest they come toppling, blood-ripe, into my cold lap. Had I been a Français moyen with a taste for flashy ladies, I might have easily found among the many crazed beauties that lashed my grim rock creatures far more fascinating than Valeria. My choice, however, was prompted by considerations whose essence was, as I realized too late, a piteous compromise, all of which goes to show how dreadfully stupid poor Humbert always was in matters of sex. Although I told myself I was looking merely for a soothing presence, a glorified pot-au-feu, an animated merkin, what really attracted me to Valeria was the imitation she gave of a little girl. She gave it not because she had divined something about me, it was just her style, and I fell for it. Actually, she was at least in her late 20s. I never established her exact age, for even her passport lied, and had mislaid her virginity under circumstances that changed with her reminiscent moods. I, on my part, was as naive as only a pervert can be. She looked fluffy and frolicsome, dressed à la gamine, showed a generous amount of smooth leg, knew how to stress the white of a bare instep by the black of a velvet slipper, and pouted and dimpled and romped and dirndled, and shook her short curly blonde hair in the cutest and tritest fashion imaginable. After a brief ceremony at the mairie, I took her to the new apartment I had rented, and, somewhat to her surprise, had her wear, before I touched her, a girl's plain nightshirt that I had managed to filch from the linen closet of an orphanage. I derived some fun from that nuptial night, and had the idiot in hysterics by sunrise. But reality soon asserted itself. The bleached curl revealed its melanic root, the down turned to prickles on a shaved shin. The mobile, moist mouth, no matter how I stuffed it with love, disclosed ignominiously its resemblance to the corresponding part in a treasured portrait of her toad-like dead mamma, and presently, instead of a pale little gutter girl, Humbert had on his hands a large, puffy, short-legged, big-breasted, and practically brainless Baba. This state of affairs lasted from 1935 to 1939. Her only asset was a muted nature, which did help to produce an odd sense of comfort in our small, squalid flat. 2 rooms, a hazy view in one window, a brick wall in the other, a tiny kitchen, a shoe-shaped bathtub, within which I felt like Marat, but with no white-necked maiden to stab me. We had quite a few cosy evenings together, she deep in her parissoir, I working at a rickety table. We went to movies, bicycle races, and boxing matches. I appealed to her stale flesh very seldom, only in cases of great urgency and despair. The grocer opposite had a little daughter whose shadow drove me mad. But with Valeria's help I did find after all some legal outlets to my fantastic predicament. As to cooking, we tacitly dismissed the pot-au-feu and had most of our meals at a crowded place in the Rue Bonaparte, where there were some wine stains on the tablecloth and a good deal of foreign babble. And next door, an art dealer displayed in his cluttered window a splendid, flamboyant, green, red, golden and inky blue ancient American estampe. A locomotive with a gigantic smokestack, great baroque lamps, and a tremendous cowcatcher, hauling its mauve coaches through the stormy prairie night and mixing a lot of spark-studded black smoke with the furry thunderclouds. These burst. In the summer of 1939, mon oncle d'Amérique died, bequeathing me an annual income of a few $1,000s on condition I came to live in the States and showed some interest in his business.